and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
Hello there, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this video update here with me in the beautiful wilderness of divine nature, of course. So today I want to go a little bit deeper into the topic that I've addressed in the previous video about the star origins remembered and the mission remembered. I want to give us again a little bit of the deeper insight into what's happening on a greater galactic level, because a lot of you are feeling that in parallel to your physical human lives, as what it appears to be one reality, there's many other sets of realities. They're happening in parallels. I explain all of this in my course Multidimensional Ascension, because there's a lot more going on than what appears on the eyes, and a lot of us here have galactic missions, galactic assignments, not just our earthly assignments, and this will be very much felt in the way we live our lives. Because for example, in my life, when I go about my journeys, that's all I think about. That's all I'm processing all the time. It's non-stop, because it's, as my friend also says, it's a 24/7 hour job. It's basically a mission that it cannot leave you, because you are this. You are the mission, and you started it. I know about the mission that I started, and it's just something that once you start, you cannot look back to and, just say goodbye from. It's going to be a continuous expansion of that. And for a lot of you who are feeling these things, that are feeling called to these greater and greater mysteries of what's really taking place, what's really happening, beyond just the spiritual fields, the new age, the self-help scenario, and all of these things, there's this vastness of the mystery of what's really taking place, as what I like to call the deeper merge of our divine cosmic beloved, which is what's truly happening. It's this unification of the light and dark, the divine masculine, divine feminine coming together. But as they're playing out, as this scenario is playing out, this is a lot of times being felt through a lot of distortions and the imprints that, of course, on a greater level we have chosen as a pathway to that mastery, so that we can recognize where these distortions are taking place. I've shared this with you before. I think it was last fall. Go check that out if you haven't already, because I've shared about the mission that is almost like the descent, right, or different levels of descension from being a cosmic creation pillar holding the space for these primary pure creation templates. I call them the creation principles. Then as they just start to descend further and further down, they're going to be processed through grid workers and gatekeepers, and then these beings will kind of put that out through a web of light workers, which people call them light workers. It doesn't matter, just beings that are dedicated to the path of light and sharing and putting that out more in the public. And then from then on, this is just going to expand and even further. So what's happening is like this engulfing with the truth. But I want to give this presentation today and what's really happening, and how we and our Earth School mastery of life can assess this through every relationship we're ever presented with. Every single thing is our school of training of life. When you start to see your life as a training ground, not like, soldiers and army, it's nothing to battle here. It's just every single thing is initiation of spirit. Every single thing is a deeper mystery taking you further into your ascended mastery. And not just ascended, but also descended. So the less programmed we get, the more we kind of break through the cracks of the matrix, because it does have cracks. We've designed it, but we also have designed the cracks through which we will see the light of illumination shining through. So we will have the tools and resources to one day wake up to that, and wake up to that which is real, and kind of slowly moving through those phases of these distortions. So my purpose on a much greater level with what I do with Ascension pioneers and helping people around the world to kind of move deeper into their self-mastery is working on these prime pure designs, these templates of creation, because they were distorted and they were falsified, and that's why we had such distorted relationships, a lot of entrapment, dogmas, all of this basically was imprinted. And whenever there's imprints coming through these different layers, there's also what's needed from us, what's required of us is unprinting from that. So when we're presented in our life in their school of mastery with these energies, and just yesterday I was looking at my oracles. A lot of times I like to do that because I get many messages through them, just looking at the repetitive patterns there in the oracles and the tools of divination. If you know how to use them with awareness, it's not just predicting things news, or, you know, looking out at things that are happening for you or in the future. You're looking more at the deeper insight as what's happening on the greater levels. So I've received some messages about deceitful energies and kind of like the energies that are a bit hostile. And from time to time, this is amplified on our planet. It's not because something's wrong. It's just because we are closer to breaking free from those things. So in each level of the new light coming in, there's going to also be a stream of what we're needing to break free from, and break through is what breaks us free. So recently, what really took place is that I felt called to share about, you know, as the beloveds, as the great unification. Go and watch that previous video just before this one about that's happening in greater galactic sense with the split and then coming back into unison, is that the great cosmic beloved, which is all of us in unity consciousness, is coming together, but we're doing it bit by bit, pieces through pieces. It's like the layer cake, right? It's that kind of scenario. So when people have these experiences that they call twin flames, or any kind of relationship, and when they're still looking at it as a linear thing, something fixed, something rigid, something needs to be this way, and they're not willing that to serve only as a starting template for the further expansion, they're actually still not breaking through that encoding and that template, which was a distortion. So the first thing I want to share is that this unification is happening layer by layer, with each of our processings. You know, maybe in the certain part of your journey you've woken up to the fact, wow, I have a twin flame, right? And you started walking that path. You know, I broke through that crack of the code very fast, because I remembered having a relationship when I had this first false imprint in that. It wasn't even about me. I was shown that it's something I needed to go through to see where there's mass hypnosis, yeah, in truth, it's mass hypnosis happening there. And because I broke through it so fast, then you empower yourself just enough so you give this coating of light outwardly, so that the people who are following the path, coming and following these footsteps, not your footsteps, but the footsteps of truth, that's the difference. I'm not saying to anyone to follow me or what I'm saying. I'm just putting out the things that I myself am willing to, through my wisdom, decode and uncode. And you know, when I started this path, in the beginning it felt like I'm alone, and bit by bit there were more companions coming through that hold their own unique assignments and helping me with the bigger picture, because we each have our own attributes and gifts, and we're helping each other as companions. And later I'm noticing that together we're so much more powerful, and we don't have to be physically together, but as we communicate, sometimes, you know, this happens with a few people in my life, and we're just kind of cracking this, you know, it's just coming out. And on each level that we do, it's almost like a new breath of release. It's happening on the greater creation levels, and there's not many doing this now on the more like minute level, but it is coming out. You know, it will further expand once the collective energy is also open, when the people are ready to meet themselves, to meet all these greater galactic aspects of them, to the degree that it's actually doing this work on a greater level. And that's why when all of these courses that have developed, from Cosmic Convergence to Cosmic Beloved, Multidimensional Ascension, Galactic Signature, all of these are meant to sustain us, to support us as we're moving to these greater levels, not just doing the earthly work and our own earthly body work, but it's simultaneously it's connecting with our galactic links, because it's not separate. Imagine that this minute picture, this scenario playing out here now on Earth, is just like a micro version of something that's happening on a macro level. So it's basically simultaneous experience, and each one of us has to see these imprints when we're going to be following this path of self-mastery, because at this level is not just becoming a master of yourself, master of Earth. That's one level, but a lot of you, like I talk about, being cosmic masters, will start to expand on levels beyond your reach. That what you once perceived, of course, as you reach, but it's going to be surprises. You know, when I started this path, I didn't know I'm going to end up here, but each level takes me further into remembering the assignment that I've actually put in motion for myself. This was all my design, how I dream myself into this world, this reality, for purposes that are at a certain level, they feel unknown, but they are unraveling more and more as we go along the way. So one of these aspects that was really coming up for me strongly was that people don't always see where we're being hooked. I made a video, I think it was at the beginning of this year, about ascension and energy hooks. So a lot of the hooks that we perceive are the so-called perceived darkness. And we all talk about embracing the dark, embrace the dark because it will help to see your light. But the thing is that a lot of the times I see with the people, as I communicate, as I observe, as I see the collective, because I am in a way a researcher of information, what's unfolding, then I gather, I synthesize, and then I share what's presented to me by a much larger picture through spirit. So a lot of people are missing. The hooks are not just coming through the so-called dark, the dark agendas, the hidden agendas, the worldwide controllers, the elite, all of these things. But what's happening is that we're always looking just that which is dark perceives to be controlling us and manipulating us, and it's distorted. But we don't see so much yet the false prophet, the false light, the false illusion. And just yesterday, after getting this message myself, I opened this reading from a woman who was saying she's an angel medium, and she got the same message about false prophets, and not everything as it seems to be. And when I started doing my Ascension videos, remember a little back, I actually was presented with this, and I shared a lot about this, but now I feel more en masse people are ready to see this, because I remember at that time when I broke through certain cracks of these codes, I was like, does no one else see what I see? And I felt so alone, because everybody was like, rah, 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 everybody was so in the light, love light, and I was like, no, it's not all about that. It's so much deeper, but we're unwilling to see. But you need to be ready to see, because otherwise you don't understand what's happening, and that's why you're not presented with something unless you're really ready to have the kind of mastery to step up to it and to break through it through joy. You see it as a play. So yesterday I had a talk with my friend, and we both agreed that the light and dark have been playing this game for eons and eons together. They're each other's companions, but what we did is we put them separate in a box, light, dark, light, heavy. And that's why we weren't able to see all of the spectrums that it has the capacity to. The distortion has the capacity to come through as a biased truth, that which is not truth in the end at all then anymore, because it's distorted. So through our relationships, and this is where most of my codes are being cracked, when I'm cracking through the hole in this matrix, moving deeper into the creatrix, which is the true prime source code of existence of all life being as one in unity consciousness. So when these relationships come, they're showing you these false imprints through when your heart says, ugh, this feels heavy, this is weird, I'm not a part of this drama, or something feels like it's keeping you either stuck in the past, stuck in the future, and a lot of times when I connect to the world by web, I see a lot of people, when they talk about relationships and manifesting them and creating them, for example, I tune into the tarot readers sometimes, and I watch these things and I look into the nature of how still on the surface we're reading those things in these scenarios. Okay, you're not attracting this, why? You're single, why? You have a partner, what's wrong with that? It's still so trivial. It's there in the surface. But there's only a few of us who really wanting to see that every relationship is basically, it's not like, okay, you're staying with the old, something's wrong with you, you've created that, what's wrong with you? There's nothing ever wrong with us, but we're always at the level when we're ready to be at. But a lot of us who said no to those levels, that just, it felt we're not going to be there, because we've designed a different incarnation through the mission, the stellar origin mission for ourselves, because we wanted to go through all of these distortions so that we become, as we once were, this prime source sovereign primary. That's the primary, means that you are completely falsified, all these imprints free. And when you are, you become the embodiment of truth. And that truth, that's the only way that the love can truly be filtered without those filters. It just permeates. Love just permeates through. And you really are within the truth of divine love. We all have moments when we feel, wow, I'm feeling divine love. But there's illusion coming. Oh, distortion, this and that, And in the beginning of this year, moving towards, a little deeper into this year, I had this dream when being with guide was telling me some guidance. And she was saying, look, be careful how you connect to Neptune energy. And Neptune is that utopia. It's that false light. It's just, wow, everything is just how it shines. And, sometimes it's related to also the what's portrayed to us as the famous people and the famous elites, and all that shines is gold. And it's not just the good and the spiritual love, but it's sometimes that distorted love, if we cannot bring it together to the fusion. So masters of polarity, those of us who really feel called to this path, which is the true beloved path, is to become your own master first. There's no other person, no other agenda, no other creation that has answers for you, that has love for you, that you will come into fulfillment, through that. There is no such thing. So those of us who said, wait a minute, to be a cosmic beloved is something totally different. I want to go through this journey. We've signed up to kind of check all these dots that before were unchecked and unclear. And I know it's a path. Sometimes it feels like struggle. You feel alone. I feel like that so many times. And sometimes I go like this, when will it ever end? It's just so much. It feels like a burden sometimes because there's a lot of work to do. Because on a creation level, that's what's taking place. All these distortions of how the masculine and feminine polarities in creation, these primary forces of creation, were separating and then creating these distortions, so then once they can wake up and come back into the unison. And we have to go through all of that because we designed it. So it's how can we not crack the codes of the program we've written ourselves? And a lot of the times we blame others and we blame the society and these dark structures. But like I've said, we're not seeing the whole picture. And until we're going to see the whole picture, we're not going to move forward. We're going to stay stuck with just the dark. The dark is the controlling aspect. The moment you think about something dark, dark has the power to control us. But what about the false light? And through my relationships, when I had a communication with someone, and I instantly recognized it was something that they were hiding, so that aspect of which is hidden, but they want to be somewhere where they're not yet, so they're not spiritually grounded in their true maturity, which is the middle path. A lot of times it showed as a pattern of a person who's spiritually not yet sovereign, not yet free, but they have dreams, like the Neptune energy, right? You dream and you wish for things to be a certain way, and you project them into the future. So a lot of times what the false light does, and it's been infiltrating for a lot of years in this New Age movement, because people fall for that. They want the good, they want the positive, and they're missing out. If you're going to deny the shadow, what you're going to do is the reflection of it will be the shadow light in a way, which is the distorted light. It's the illusionary light. So when this comes to you through relationships, anything that is fragmented, anything that is distorted, it will be mirrored to you through another person. And again, don't take it personally, like, there's just my mirror, it means I'm the same. No. When you have this work, when you have these assignments, and you might watch this video years after, it doesn't matter. It's when you do the work. It's for you. It's your own timeline when you're mastering this. It's eternal. It's just timeless. So when this happens, you will see that something in you will say, something will feel heavy, something the way you connect to another, because it represents the greater connectivity of the masculine and feminine forces at play, right, with each other. So notice that, take note of that, and don't just move into this trivial surface layer perspective, which is about, I'm supposed to cut the person out of my life. I'm supposed to move into this direction or that direction. People have been doing that for years. How can you cut something out if you haven't even found the wisdom behind it? You haven't integrated. What are we doing here? We're kind of like children when we do that, right? So we're missing the integration, and integration leads to integrity. There's no integrity without integration. And when I've met these aspects coming to me in my life through this false light perspective, I've seen that there's a lot of people with a lot of wishful thinking. And what they're doing is because they're not fully creating the lives of their soul alignment, but they wish for, and they find someone, like in my case, a lot of people saw me as that reflection. Ooh, I also want that. Ooh, I also love that. Ooh, I would love to do that. And because they themselves have not yet become the master of creating this in their own Garden of Eden themselves, so a lot of times these forces, they don't want. There's just aspects of us that don't want to move further. That's all there is, right? The aspects that are stubbornly sticking to the old and not expansion and not that of the sovereign freedom of the truth. So these aspects are saying, why don't we keep you disempowered as well? And a lot of times in my reflections in the relationships, this came through as, I'm going to come and offer you this and, in indefinite time somewhere in the future. And what my friend yesterday reminded me of is this is how the feminine keeps being wounded. Because remember, the distorted feminine principle is that which is clingy, longy, hopeful, wow, wishful thinking. It's not the same as divine trust and now embodiment, mastery. Because the only reality is what you're creating in this moment, but your focus to that commitment stays in alignment with what you truly want. And I've met a lot of people who are into this field of spirituality. They really kind of feel called to it. They want the love, they want all the good, but somehow there's aspects and elements they're missing because of this. Because they're not willing to see the whole, and they're not willing, sometimes they're lazy, to do the entire work on all the spectrum. So what this brings us to is the non-completion of our mission. This rhymes, but anyway, it's those of you who really feel called to do this work. There is no pauses, there is no skipping steps, there is no shortcuts. It's whatever will come to us, it will come to us, but it's the level where we need to be ready at. And not everybody will be, but I'm shown that it's time that many are going to start slowly feeling what this means on a bigger level, and they're going to start tuning into. And again, I advise you to read the book Prism of Lyra. I don't have it with me today to show it to you, but watch the previous video where I show it off in my own way. So it's really important. So I really advise you, when you have a relationship, look closely at the elements that are playing out. It's not just about you're stuck in the past because someone returned into your life. Well, what if they're meant to return to show you aspects you weren't able to see before? But not just that. You weren't yet in that level of embodiment, and now you are. Now you're going deeper. Now you're diving deeper. You're saying, oh, heck, this is galactic now, you know? Wow. And it's just that they're serving as that aspect. It's not something mean or whatever it is. You know, I had a dream just recently, and I want to remind you again, not everything is as it appears to be. I have this person who's really obsessed with me, and they send me these every day. I get messages from them. I don't read them. I just get them, and they're always going in my trash folder. But I want to say is that in the dream, they came to me and they clearly told me, which I already knew, but in the dream they said, I love you, but although I love you, I'm still working for them. I'm working for the trolls and for the forces at bay to keep you kind of like, oh, you know, because these aspects of us, I'm going to say us because it's unity consciousness when we do that. It's not us and them anymore. It's how do we unify? That's why I'm sharing it in so passionate way, because it is about finally seeing these aspects of us in a bigger picture. It's just that these aspects are illumined, awakened, are playing the role of an awakened, illumined being, and they're already awake and they're awakening others. That's all there is. But awakening is not just about you awakening that, okay, you're a spirit in human form, that's it. You're going to continue to go deeper and deeper. And I'm saying this to all of you who one day will be shown this through your own soul, and maybe you're going to be reminded of, oh, you know, she was saying this in this video, or I may have heard it somewhere else, or I read the book Prism of Lyra, or some other book, or I don't know. It's just things are adding up for when we're ready, for when it's timely for us, when we're called. And we have to be discerning that not everything is as it appears to be. There's always something bigger we're playing out. You know, for years and years of time, I was asking myself, why is my mission like this? Why am I so isolated here in the Alps? But I wanted to come here myself. I wanted this. So the thing is that a lot of the times we know what we have to do, but we don't always on a human level understand it. But the further deeper we're going in this integration work, the more mastery we will gain, the more we'll become these sovereigns. And I'm shown more and more with each step that I'm taking. And when people ask me sometimes, how did you know this for you? Or how you've mastered this inner path? Well, there is no one answer, because this is me. It's my mission. It's my spirit, completely unique. Because on the level of this false separation that we created, we wanted to embrace unity through uniqueness. So you see, there is no unity without uniqueness. You see, everything, even the language, we've put it out there, we've encoded, so it has meaning for us. And like I said, there is no integration without, no integrity without integration first. So sometimes people say to me, oh, let's just enjoy, let's just have those soul flirts or whatever, let's just, it's not important. Because I've had this a lot of times with people who are not yet ready, well, these aspects of us, I'll say rather, who are not ready to move further, and they're not willing to take the responsibility for this merging process. And they would say, let's say they engage in energy exchange with you, and all of a sudden something, you tell them, look, this is not, in alignment with integrity, and they'll say, oh, what, are you attached? Are you attached to this? It doesn't matter anyway, it's just soul flirting. I'm just giving you one example. It's because this is, every time we do that, we're so spiritually immature, because we're not willing to see what are we putting out there, because we gotta stop playing like this little children and just see the bigger picture. Because there's souls who've been immature for eons and eons of time, and they weren't willing to do the work. And Salva Kelly calls them lazy souls. And yeah, in certain aspects, these are just boxes and labels, I know, but certain aspects they did forget, and they forgot a lot. And when we're here remembering the dream we've dreamed into together, to kind of learn from it, but then unify, we gotta be aware of every single fragment of us that speaks out a distortion, that invites in a distortion, whether it's even just communication through another. You don't have to be the one who's imprinted yourself, but as a conscious servant of life, you will be met with these imprints, so you can help clear them. Not clear them, but you're going to unify them. So in the New Age spiritual work, everybody talks about doing your clearing work, clearing your chakras, this and that. It's good. You got to be a clear instrument, right? You got to be a pure channel. But on this level, once you do that, what's next, right? You'll say, okay, I've done this, what's next? New level comes in, and that completes in a way, and that's again, what's next? New level comes in. Remember, layers, layer cakes, lots of layer cakes, layers of the onion, whatever suits you to imagine this, but it's vast. The more deeper you go into the self, the more you see how vast it is, and your work in a way never ends. But you got to be playful about it, you got to be cheerful about it, you got to be seeing it like, wow, it's a mystery, this life is such a mystery, and every time I get more and more insights. And that's how I like to inspire people, not saying, wow, this is dark, heavy, manipulates. Yeah, these are the distortions, because what we wanted through this separation is to have the experience how it feels like that. But now, as this is slowly coming into unison again, and no one knows how long it takes, because in truth there's no time, it's just unfolding, it's processing. So as it's happening, we're witnessing all of this, so we can see it, see what's happening in the bigger picture, and then create something new from it. So we can purify and create a new. We're going to create these new templates again of creation, which will be once again from our mature soul, from our awaken and integrated self. So when you're presented with relationships, ask yourself all these things. On each level you'll have different degrees of mastery. This year I was processing something, for example, when people said, oh, it's just a fling, or it's just casual, let's just have casual sexual interactions or something like that. People were only capable of doing that when they didn't get emotionally entangled and intertwined with someone. The moment emotions get involved, it gets difficult and hard and heavy, because these attachments can come into play. Or these old stories like, I am hurt when someone leaves me, or I am wounded when someone is like this. If you keep that at bay, you close off your emotional centers, and it's easier. Just see like event happening by. If you look at the nature of creation only through events, surface level, you're not going to grow, and therefore your continuous experiences will be same, like the movie Groundhog Day. Every day waking up to the same reality. Well, this is what we get, more of the same, more of the same. As we start to participate with life, life will show us more and more what's to unfold, what's to come. So this week I was really moving deeper into this subject, and what was shown to me was, what about when you can achieve that level of mastery, when you can be involved with someone, completely immersed in the now moment, enjoying with them as you want to share love with each other, and then not like it didn't exist, but with emotions, with full feeling, and then not get hurt. You see, that's again a new level of mastery, because you do it through love. You're completely immersed in the moment. You don't think of the nature of your exchange as faulty, or you're hurt, someone leaves you. They don't leave you, they just go about their journey. It's all these stories we've been telling ourselves that we're faulty, not our relationships. The relationship is just the outplay of what we're creating to see the bigger picture. But a lot of people still look at them only on their surface level. Something doesn't fit them, okay, move on, It's not about that for me. It's as I teach in my Cosmic Beloved course, for those of you feeling ready and called to this new level of how you want to be your own masterful beloved and master all parts of you. Imagine being a complete master of yourself, and through yourself you will understand creation. It's the only way. Through your uniqueness, you will open the gateways to understanding the allness. There is no such thing as absorbing yourself into the mass white light of unity without, you don't know who you are, you get lost. That's called the soul sucking, the draining of these souls. And sometimes people call these, I've heard many terms. One was, what was it called? I forgot, but it was really interesting outplay of, when they kind of soul harvesting. And I was like, wow, this sounds yucky. It did sound heavy. But when something feels like we say, ugh, yuck, heavy, I don't want to go there, ask yourself, okay, can I sit with this feeling of, okay, let me see this word, soul harvest, or let me see, hostility, or, deceit. Even if it comes through an oracle or tarot, we get like, oh, we don't want this card. Oh, the Tower card or the Death card. Oh, it's heavy. Why? If we're still interacting that way, we're still kind of coming from fragmentation. and memories of those faulty experiences that we're now unifying. That makes us no longer feel bad or hurt or wounded about them. And everything that still makes us feel wounded is a call to step up. But we don't like that, so we say, I'm wounded, I'm going to choose something else. Of course, yes, but what are you wounded from anyway? You got to see that first before you will choose a new. So we're seeing that we're not just clearing, but we're absorbing ourselves into this new, refusing with this, so we can integrate it. Then we're going to transcend and choose a new. How can you create a new pathway from all the old and murky and already mashed up, like just a bunch of mashed potatoes, right? And you want to make bread, for example, right? So it doesn't make sense. But what does make sense is that it's work, but not work in terms of heavy. Like I said, when it feels burdensome and heavy, it's because we're still thinking, oh, it's just work, because we're not seeing it as a playful thing. The moment you switch your button and you say like, wow, you know, every relationship will be something for me to learn from, to become more masterful of, wow, then I invite more of that. I want more of that because I want growth and expansion. I'm not going to be this static being who's just always just sitting somewhere waiting for things to happen out in the cosmos. Well, you are in the cosmos. You're a part of it. So I know it's a big mystery, and a lot of people are still living it from these levels, which is fine. It's just the deeper we get, the more fun it gets as well. It's not just more work, more mastery, but it's also more fun. And we definitely want more of that. We want more fun. We want the mystery. We want to solve things. We want to crack through those openings that make us see there's more there. There's always more. And that's what all of my dedication to all my videos, it's focused on. It's focused on this, on the pioneering spirits, Ascension pioneers who are here to do this sacred work of doing that. Whatever kind of level you're at, you know, there's very few creation pillars, but gatekeepers, you know, grid workers, light workers, all of that. It's just that your dedication is to the light of the truth. See the difference, not to just, you know, distorted light. We're being imprinted through that as well, not just the heavy dark that which we perceive as that, you know. It's all that is distorted, that's not in the middle path of mastery. So the mastered polarity, someone told me that in the beginning. I think I wasn't long into doing my videos, and this woman had a dream about me, and I said to her, look, I'm a master of polarity. And I knew that was true at that level, although I knew that physically I wasn't yet in this lifetime yet embodying all of that. But I knew, wow, this is my path, because that's why I said it. That's why the message came to me. It's like a message of, wow, this is my path, mastering polarity into unity. So those of you really feeling called, that's why my video was focused on, look at everything as a notion. Look at everything coming back to you. And if you're guided to go deeper, there's all of my courses available that will help you get deeper into penetrating through those layers which are false. Because the word false even, it doesn't have to have a heavy meaning. It's just, it's just not what comes from the purity of divine love. And if we want to be the full embodiments of divine love on all levels, we gotta do that. There's no shortcuts. So that's it for today. I'm getting a little chilly now. The sun went down. No, behind the cloud. But I do send you warmest, beautiful greetings from our Alps. As always, so much love, wisdom, and power. Thank you for those of you, to those of you who are supporting, donating, sharing your feedback. I love all of you so much. As always, my work of dedication goes out to all of life and creation, and of course, all of you watching. So I love you very much. Stay tuned. Coming up soon.